So today we're going to take a look at a scenario where Doggerland comes back in real life. So if you don't know, Doggerland was this massive piece of land that existed in the last ice age that connected the UK, or just Great Britain, I guess, to the rest of Europe. And it looked kind of like this. This isn't exact, so if there's any errors, I apologize. I had to trace a map that didn't line up properly, so it's really weird. But anyway, today we're going to be taking a look at a scenario where this comes back, how the different countries are going to react, and how this land is going to affect world politics and wars and just geography in general. So if you enjoy it, give it a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new. I'm trying to get to 5,000 subscribers, so anything helps. Anyway, let's get started. So Doggerland just comes back, which, unless we enter another ice age, isn't going to happen, because global warming, so it's not how it works. So all of these countries are now landlocked. The Netherlands, Belgium, Ireland, and the UK are all landlocked now. So right away, certain countries will be allowed to expand their territory, obviously to reach the ocean, but also the UN will be stepping in and just trying to mediate everything, make sure nothing turns hostile. But all these countries are in NATO and the EU. But that might not exist in this scenario, because if any wars are going to happen over it, then it doesn't really work. Ireland and the UK will make an agreement on how to split the land between them, and it looks something like that. After that, it just kind of just goes out to the ocean. So all of this is Ireland's now, and all of this is the UK. You do the same thing up north. So let's go and remove the borders. So now this is what Ireland looks like. Definitely a lot different. It's completely unrecognizable, so yeah. Next up, the UK and France will make an agreement to split the English Channel, or what used to be the English Channel. France's border with Belgium will just continue out, go out, something like that. And the UK will come off of it. It'll go straight in between them, and it'll just go straight out to the ocean. So something like that. I'm not the best at drawing lines, so I just remembered that these two islands are part of the UK, so their border is going to have to come down and get those islands. So it'll look something like that then. Now let's go erase the border. So there's the new border between the UK and France. Next we'll move over here, where Denmark and Germany will do a treaty saying that anything above this is for Denmark, anything below that Germany can have. Denmark won't go too crazy, and they'll just take a little bit of land, kind of like that. Then Germany will go, and they'll wrap right around Denmark, just that way they can at least reach the ocean this way. Even they're not landlocked, but they don't have to go through Denmark to get to the ocean. So there's the new borders there, looking amazing, am I right? Next we'll have Belgium and the Netherlands, who will not be able to make it out to the ocean, as the UN basically takes control over this whole area here. And they basically limit all these countries to their economic zones that they have on the ocean, except for Germany and Denmark there, and obviously the UK and Ireland, that is on this side, and France over here, just because they made their claims before the UN even stepped in. So the Netherlands and Belgium will try to get some free trade stuff between them, but they're in the EU anyways, so it's not a huge deal to them, but it is at the same time, because they just lost all of their sea access. There's the new borders there. And if you're actually interested in Doggerland and the history of Doggerland, I actually have a video coming out in a couple weeks. It's either next week or the week after, all about Doggerland and the history of it, the geology, the geography, the people, the animals, all of that cool stuff. So make sure you're subscribed in order to go and see that, because trust me, that'll be a pretty cool video. Anyway, now we're going to remove the border for the UK. Well, it will not be at all recognizable. So there's the UK. I mean, I guess you can kind of tell it's the UK by the shape, but still, it's Europe looks completely different. Anyway, with this new UN kind of controlled zone, a lot of countries are not happy about that. Two of the main ones are, well, the Netherlands and Belgium, But also Germany and the UK aren't happy about that, as they were kind of hoping to expand a little bit. And Norway, surprisingly, who wanted to expand to the other side of this new channel that's kind of opened up here. The UK and France, both being on the Security Council for the UN, will try and get the UN to remove their control over this region. And they're going to get the support of their ally in the US, who will support them on this. Russia and China will not, as they don't want Europe to have full control over the entrance to the Baltic Sea, because again, this is Russia's only port. They're at St. Petersburg, right? Or one of their only ports. They have some in the Black Sea, I think. But this is just really bad for Russia if the Western Europeans gain full control over the North Sea, which I mean they already have, but now that they can kind of go in a neutral zone and benefit them a little bit. But with 3-2 votes on that, it'll go to the rest of the UN, and the UN actually will be removing their control over it. And almost immediately after that, we see Norway make a claim over this whole area and annex that into their territory. Next, we see Germany move up and link up with them. This angers the Netherlands and Belgium, because that was the nearest spot to the water that they had. It's now a little bit of a thing on Doggerland is that it only like sunk like 10,000 years ago, but even more recently, like 5,000 years ago or something, there was Dogger Bank, which is just like, well, a bank. There's like the highlands of Doggerland, which was still above the water. Like we go back to a normal map, it was just an island there. There was actually a mega tsunami caused by a rock slide off the coast of Norway, kind of up here somewhere. There's like this Stegega slide or something. But basically, that caused a mega tsunami that just wiped out the rest of Doggerland and all the people and animals living there. And actually, Doggerland gets its name from Dogger Bank, which gets its name from the Dutch word for fishing boat, I believe, which is Dogger or Doger or something. I'm probably mispronouncing that. But basically, there was an island here. This is the highlands. This is where the most recent human activity was in the whole area of Doggerland, and probably where the most resources and stuff is as well. And both the UK and Germany know this, and so they're both going to split a claim over Dogger Bank, where it looks something like that. Not gonna lie, it looks pretty bad. But now this absolutely angers the lowland countries, because now they have no way of getting to the water. Actually, I just remembered that the Netherlands still has some islands in the Caribbean. Like, I think these are the Netherlands, and then they actually share a border with France on one of these islands here. So the Netherlands isn't landlocked. They can't complain anymore. They're not landlocked. But anyway, the Netherlands and Belgium will basically just split up the rest of this, and the UK and Germany won't say anything because they kind of just ruined everything for them. And besides, they weren't really looking to expand into that area anyways. But there is the final borders of Western Europe. There's still some unclaimed land. That's fine. It won't remain unclaimed for very long. The UK will go and they'll claim up to here. Also claim this land here. And then they state that they are finished expanding into Doggerland. That's all they wanted. This island here is part of the UK, so they just kind of expand up to there. And now we're kind of left with this. And it's probably now that we start to see some wars, because NATO's not going to exist in this scenario. So we see Belgium and the Netherlands teaming up. They actually have the support of Luxembourg and Denmark. And they're going to be teaming up against Germany, because they want access to the ocean. They don't want to be stuck here. Denmark kind of wants to expand, so why not? Some other countries are actually going to get in this as well, such as France, Poland, Czechia, and I think that's it. Keep in mind, this is not meant to be completely factual. This is my filler week video between my other educational videos, so this is just more for entertainment, but hey, I think you guys have still learned some stuff about Doggerland, right? Anyway, France and the lowlands will push immediately into Germany, and with Denmark, they will completely cut off their Doggerland claims from the rest of the country, and with very little military presence there, they will take out the entire region. Next, they push out from all along their border, and it's going pretty well for the red team. Over in the east, however, Germany pushes into the Sudetenland and just into eastern Poland. Czechia has now lost their capital, and, well, they're not doing too good. The red team now captures Hamburg, and France pushes out from all across their border now. The red team is heading straight for Berlin. There's nothing really Germany can do to stop them. They do push them back slightly, but it's probably not going to be enough. Now, some other countries actually see an opportunity to get some land here, and those are Spain and Italy. With France distracted up north, they might be able to get some land in the south. So, right away, Italy's going to take over Corsica, and they're going to be pushing along the coast, because, there is mountains here. Spain's going to push out a little bit too, and they'll actually take out the entire French Mediterranean coast. Spain will also push up along the French coast up here, taking over a little bit of land and kind of just pushing around the mountains, so essentially just falls over to the blue team. Now the UK, worried about the balance of power in Europe, as they usually are, will now join this war on the side of France and the Lowlands, even though the Lowlands were probably going to declare war on them next. But if they can get to the water, then they'll probably be fine. And the UK knows that, and in order to prevent another war over Doggerland, that's what they're going to do. Now, in support of their allies, Portugal, who has the longest alliance with the UK in the world, will join the war. And Greece, who I think has a defensive pact with France, will join on the red team, not on the blue team. This could turn into a much larger conflict, because we can have Turkey declare war on Greece, and then a whole Balkan war, but I don't feel like doing that today. So with that, France will now have to pull a lot of troops out of Germany, and so their front falls back a lot, and Germany is actually able to take back Hamburg. Now the UK's troops have not arrived there yet. They're still mobilizing, so that's why they're able to do that. France pulling out troops means that they're able to push back against Spain, and slightly against Italy, because Italy is still a very strong country. Portugal joining this war, they're going to begin to push into Galicia in northern Spain, and they'll take over the region pretty quickly. This obviously alarms Spain, who will now push into southern Portugal and liberate most, if not all, of the northern territories, and then continue to push into the rest of Portugal, basically making it so it's just Lisbon. Next, Greece makes a naval landing in Sicily, taking over a good chunk of the southern part of the island, and France starts to move into the northern parts of Italy, marching towards Milan through the mountains, because they don't care about mountains. Now, with the arrival of British troops in Germany, it doesn't go so well for Germany. They push out across the French border, and they actually are spearheading towards Munich, eventually capturing it, to then reach the Czech border, and also begin to liberate the country, even taking back their capital city. Eventually, the entire country is liberated, and they push out from all across the Czech border, and are marching straight up towards Berlin. They cut them off from the sea, Poland is liberated, and eventually Germany surrenders, or rather they capitulate. So now the red team turns their focus down south, and while it's not going to go too well for Spain or Italy, while Italy is one of the top 10 strongest countries in the world, I believe, they're no match for, basically all of Western Europe, or just Britain and France together. All of France, or mainland France, I should say, is liberated, and then a large push into Italy is started, where they capture Milan. Then Italy switches sides, and Spain surrenders. So let's go take a look at this peace treaty. Alright, and so taking a look at this peace treaty, Europe is quite different. The UK took no land. France just took a tiny bit of land that they actually occupied after World War II. Not the exact borders, don't yell at me in the comments. France also took a tiny bit of land from Italy, but they also got Corsica back, and they actually also annexed Sardinia. Iberia didn't change, although Portugal probably could have just annexed Galicia, something up there. They didn't. Greece didn't get anything, they just got reparations from Italy and Spain. Poland took a tiny bit of land from Germany, same with Czechia. And now for the crazy stuff. Belgium is doing its best Chile impression. They do get to go to the ocean now. Same with the Netherlands, who took a ton of land from Germany. Denmark also took a lot of land, but not as much as the Netherlands. And Belgium, that just looks really bad. Also, apparently Norway annexed the rest of this land at some point. I don't remember when, But yeah, so that's going to do it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Try to get to 5K. Also, 2-week series is coming pretty soon. Still thinking of what to call it. It's probably gonna be like 10 days in the Badlands or surviving 10 days in the Badlands. Could be pretty crazy, guys. I'm excited for that. But yeah, make sure you subscribe. Video in a couple weeks on Doggerland. So make sure you come watch that. But yeah, thanks for watching. And I'll see you in the next video.